Hello. Seeing if you can hear me. Everything fine? Check, check, check. 1, 2. Hello. Can you hear me? All right. Check, check, check.
It says I have two options. I can come back at 2 or 4, or I can leave this page open and it'll start at 4.
Okay.
There's no options.
So just wait 2 more minutes, I guess.
Oh, I'm less than a minute now.
Okay.
It's saying
Right now, I don't see you in the room though. So.
Well, that's because they won't let me in. They're telling me that I can't get in.
Okay. All right. Got a bunch of people on the room already. Hopefully you can hear me. Ooh. Good. Let's wait a couple minutes. See if we got a couple more people coming on here. That's great. A lot of you are on there. Can you hear me?
It says the chat role is currently turned off, so I don't know how to chat with you.
Okay. Go ahead. All right, we're waiting just a few more minutes, so hang out. Good. This is my first webinar using this new Google Hangouts, so I hope you guys forgive me. Trying to figure out, see if I can figure out all the cool little features of this thing. Great. All right, let's give it one more minute here, and then we'll get started. I'm as excited as a 3-year-old in a crayon factory. I got to come up with a better one. I'm excited as a teenager with a new cell phone. That was one of my favorites because I have a 13-year-old that had a new cell phone, and I know that's pretty darn exciting. Okay. Let me close my door because I tend to get loud. All right. Hello, Cheryl and Mark, if you're both on there. Derek, Jeff, Eldon, good to see you. Shelly, awesome. Kim. We got a bunch of people from out of town here. Want to say hello. Welcome to Prosperous Christian. There's a couple more. Let me see who's coming in here. Jim, hello. Oh, I got to respond. He asked me if this was Spark, my dealer for Spark. Yes, it is. I need my afternoon boost. Thank you, Jeff. You want me to pitch it? Call Jeff for Advocare. I'm selling for you, buddy. All right. Well, let's. We got more people jumping on here, which I love. There are a lot of people that I didn't know if they registered or not, but I'm glad they're on here. Hey, Mark. All right. Good to see all you guys. Okay. All right. So I'm going to share my screen, and let's do this full screen. Let me put that on Do Not Disturb. Okay, well, God bless you and welcome to this webinar called Prosperous Christian for Christian salespeople. And it's my contention that all of us are in some form of sales or another. It's been around since pretty much the dawn of Adam and Eve. Down the line anyway, when they start having kids, they have to sell each other on many things. We have to sell our kids, we have to sell our wives and husbands in some form of fashion. It's not a negative word, and I don't want to use it as a negative word. It is neither negative nor positive. It is what we make of it. So I have maximum amount of learning in minimum amount of time here. So we're going to run through this, and if you have some questions or whatever, I'll be glad to take those at the end. It's going to be hard for me to go back and forth anyway. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I won't be able to do this anyway, so I'm going to go back and forth from this a little bit to see if you have questions. So, okay, moving on here. So, Prosperous Christian is a group that we started. It's a bunch of members that believe that you can still be a Christian business person or a Christian business owner and still do business by the book, which is what we want to do. We want to walk worthy. Of course, we're not perfect, but we try. And we believe that God wants all Christians to be prosperous, because He says, "Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth." That's 3 John 2. And of course, we know that prospering doesn't necessarily mean that financially. Of course, that's part of it. Financial prosperity is part of it, but that's relative as well. But more than that, it's physical, mental, spiritual, social, professional, familial, and of course financial is the last one. So we believe there's 7 forms of prosperity that God gives us, and one of them is finances. So as a prosperous Christian salesperson, we want to be prosperous, obviously, in all those categories. And today we'll talk about most of those categories, but we'll especially talk about how to be financially prosperous. And we'll get into that. So we know the Bible gives us all things that pertain unto life and godliness. 2 Peter 1:3 says, "According at His divine power hath given us unto us all things," that's all with distinction, "all things that pertain unto life and godliness through the knowledge of Him that hath called us unto glory and virtue." So what he's telling us, there is nothing more than life and godliness, right? So life is the physical things, godliness is the spiritual things. Between those two things, we got to cover. And so everything we need to know, God is going to tell us how to do it. So if we want to know how to be a good husband, God's going to tell us how to be a good father, how to be a good employee, how to be a salesperson. God gives us all things into life and godliness through the knowledge of Him that called us through glory and virtue, which is from His Word. And that's where we want to get it from. So if we're going to learn how to be a great salesperson, if we're going to learn how to do things by the book, we need to know what it says. We also need to know what's available, because a lot of people try to do a lot of things that's not available, and that's about as annoying as getting a cow to do a mathematic problem, which just annoys the cow. Okay, so as a Christian salesperson, we want to hit the road to success. Now, we can't do this. If we're in sales, if we're in business at all, we have to have some sort of aggressive action plan to do sales. So we can't just stick our head in the sand. Obviously, some people have, and it obviously doesn't get you very far, and that's how you get laid off or fired or worse. And that's why you have starving children and skinny kids, as Zig Ziglar used to say. But we don't do that. We want to do the right thing. So here's the traditional sales process, and I'm going to go through this quick because it's 30 years old. And when you've taken old sales training, I've taken a lot of sales training in my life. I've been in sales most of my life, if not all, pretty much all of it, like true traditional outside sales. And to this day, I still sell. But the process that was taught is 30 years old, and it was definitely a process. And I'm going to I have contention with that too, but I want to change it to the Christian sales process. But it worked. Here's how it works. When customers, they had no access to the internet. So back then, there was no global superstore competitors. There was no instant access to reviews. There was no way to research, and obviously you can only work with your local people in your local area for the most part. Now, We weren't able to instantly research you and all of your competitors. Back 30 years ago, it took a while, and we didn't have a lot of competitors, for one, but two, we weren't able to research it online. We made decisions in on clear criteria. Things were very clear. Nowadays, I would have to say that things are very muddy. There's too much information. It's very confusing, especially for some of these bigger ticket sales items. It's very confusing, and we understand that the prospects get confused, and when a prospect is confused, they don't buy, right? Okay, and then we also weren't faced with a market in which technology and change make purchases obsolete overnight. This literally happens in I have 3 businesses. One of them, literally, something can change overnight, and it'll change my entire business. It's an online marketing company, and of course, we have to keep up with it. Hopefully, we're on the front end of it. Hopefully, we're doing the right things. But Google, as you know, changes. There was 58 updates last year with Google. We just had another big one, big Panda update a couple weeks ago with Google. We want to make sure we're on the forefront of it and doing that. But 30 years ago, you didn't have to worry about that. You could have a business plan and it didn't change. But nowadays, it doesn't work that way. 30 years ago, trust was ultimately high because we haven't been burned. Our BS meters weren't pegged, which they are now because we've been abused by all these. And forgive me, I don't want to blame them, but this is kind of how it started. Started with used car dealerships, cell phone companies, as well as jewelry stores, marking it up, marketing it down, sleight of hand, bait and switch. All that stuff started happening about, 30 years ago, and then it got real bad 20, 15 years ago, and we are pegged. We no longer trust anyone. In fact, you're guilty until proven innocent, and that's a problem in today's sales arena that we're involved with. So, and then alternatives before were low. It means people didn't have any other options. You got the A or B, and that's pretty much it. So nowadays, you can pick A, B, C, D, or E, and you can buy it from the internet, or you can buy it from somebody halfway across the globe, and there's too much competition out there. So we need to find a way to stand out. So the traditional sales process is out. None of these are true today. Now here's what I want to show you today, the Christian sales process. Christians, it recognizes that customers have instant access to unlimited information to you and your competition at the point of the fingers, right here. In 10 seconds, they can figure out your reputation. They can ask their friends on Facebook or any other platform, and they can instantly have a good feedback, good, better, and different feedback on you and your competitors. Instantly. Customers are faced with innumerable choices. We've never had so many choices. It's going to get worse. Choices, choices, choices. And choices are hard to make decisions when you have so many choices and options, which you'll select from. So that makes the buying process a little bit harder. And, of course, with customers, let me go back. Customers can spot the convincing dance. We're up there jumping up and down saying, hey, you should do this, you should do this. We're trying to convince them a mile away. And this is an article I wrote called Cheese and Whiskers. It's on the membership site at prosperouschristian.com. I'll send it out to everyone that's on this webinar as well. You'll get it for free. But the point is we don't want to be like a cat with the whiskers, right? So the mice run. We want to sell with cheese, which is legitimate cheese, not with a mousetrap attached to it. Just hand them cheese, and we don't want to show our whiskers whatsoever. We'll go through some of this. Okay, success is not the result of spontaneous combustion. You must set yourself on fire. I love that. And here's what we're going to learn today. So in the next 45, 50 minutes or so, this is the process that I want to teach you. Number 1, God first. That's a given. Number 2, have enthusiasm. Number 3, get them to know, like, and trust you. Number 4, give and it shall be given unto you. Number 5, work heartily as unto the Lord. Number 6, execute with consistency. And number 7, under promise and over deliver. Okay, God first. So the scriptures, I'm going to give you scriptures for all these because everything I say and do is backed up biblically. This is not some self-help guru or some sales guy telling you these things. This is God telling us exactly how we should be Christian salespeople. So obviously God first, we know this is one of the 10 commandments. You shall have no other gods before me. Now this is the first commandment, first of the 10 commandments, because it's the first importance. Genuine spiritual, physical prosperity, spiritual and physical prosperity can only happen if we put God first. That's it. It is indisputable that all forms of prosperity will eventually fall apart if God is secondary, third area, fourth area, etc. I know my friends hate that I wrote that because there's no such words, but you'll get the point. In other words, if you put God second, third, fourth, anything besides first, everything has to fall apart. It has to, because you haven't put it in line. This is the first and foremost to any form of success, and definitely any form of prosperity. Put God first. Now, in the ebook, this is the first chapter. Put God first. So now, on the other hand, prosperity is guaranteed if we put God first. Obviously, in the basic needs on Matthew 6:33, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Now, those are the basics. Those are the foundational things. Those are not necessarily prosperity things. Those are things like food and raiment, right? And we talk about the birds and fowls of the air. So, but God is telling us that all of our needs will be met if we seek Him first, seek the kingdom of God first, and all these things shall be added unto you. And He goes further on to say we'll have prosperity as well. I'll talk to you about that. So, number 2. Forgive me. Take a drink here. Okay, so number 2, you can do anything if you have enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is yeast that makes your hopes rise to the stars. With it, there is accomplishment without their ad-libs. Oh, slides are not changing? Thank you. All right, let's see if I can do this. Something. Thank you. Share screen. La. That's why I'm learning this new Google Plus. Hang on. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can do the screen share. La, there's me. Okay. Share my screen. Let me just make sure, because you probably want to see some of this stuff. So, see if you can see it now. My helper. Can you see? Thank you. The slide just changed? Did it just change? I'm sorry, guys. A little technical difficulties because I'm this operator error. Okay. You see that? Good. Okay, he's seeing it. All right. Have enthusiasm. So Henry Ford says this: you can do anything if you have enthusiasm. Now, this is an interesting quote from him, by the way. But enthusiasm is the yeast that makes your hopes rise to the stars. With it, there's accomplishment. Without it, there's only alibis. By the way, most people that knew Henry Ford said he was very, very drab. Preview mode. What does that mean? Slideshow view. How do I do that? That's great. So it's not moving with it. Share screen, slideshow view. Let's try it again. Sorry, guys. What's it doing? It's just in the preview mode?
Yeah, it's got all the slides inside here.
Oh.
That needs to be big and full.
Well, how's it doing that? Let's see. Let's. All right. Let's do this again. Oh, I see what's going. I see what's going on here. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to keep going, just so I can get through this. So sorry if it's in the preview mode. We may have to redo this again. So so I can figure this out. Thank you for going through this. Just listen. You can take notes too, but I'll give you these slides as well. So enthusiasm is essential to sales. If you're not fired up with what you're selling, and why should your prospects be, or your clients, or anybody else for that matter? You guys know, most of you people know that I'm pretty enthusiastic. Now Henry Ford, I was telling you, he's pretty drab. I mean, he's very monotone, and he wasn't enthusiastic by some of you, what you think his definition, but Napoleon Hill, when he interviewed Henry Ford, he said he was very lame, but he said he was on fire with enthusiasm about what he was doing, and about what, obviously about cars, and about taking it to the next level. So the enthusiasm doesn't necessarily have to be an external thing. It's just this burning desire inside to excited about what you are selling. So the Greek word itself it means it's Greek in origin. It means inspiration or possession of God. This is that word enthusiasm. That's why I love the word so much. So in the early Christians, they saw someone convert to Christianity. They had no word to describe it. That overwhelming joy that created when people got born again, right? We see it today. If you see somebody get born again, we see this incredible, inert, external and internal enthusiasm which exudes from them. And it's actually a Greek word called theos, which means God within, and that's two words together, means God within. And so in other words, it means to be so inspired, it's like God himself dwells within you, which he does, obviously, if we're a Christian. So we want to have that enthusiasm for what we sell. Okay, this is critical. I put this as number 2. God first, then have enthusiasm. Because if we don't believe in what we sell, if we don't have enthusiasm about what we sell, I promise you our prospects will see that, they'll look through it, and they're not going to get excited about it either. And I don't care what you sell. If you have a legitimate product or service that people will need and can use and will better their lives in some way, or help their business, help them personally, then we should be excited about it. Or I'm going to tell you that you need to go do something else. So the last 4 letters of enthusiasm is IASM, and used as the acronym. I am sold myself. So that's the very second thing behind God first, is to be sold ourselves on what we sell. Now, I've been there. I've sold some things that I didn't truly believe in, and I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good, and of course, I didn't sell very well. But if you believe in what you sell, and you're helping people, and you're putting God first, then there should be no reason why you shouldn't be enthusiastic. And I promise you, you will sell a lot more by having that kind of enthusiasm. So that kind of enthusiasm comes with a great product, in that you're sold on yourself. And if you're currently selling something you're not completely sold on, you need to do one of 2 things. One, you need to resell yourself. You need to get sold on. You need to be, wow, this is incredible. Or you need to just quit it and stop selling it, go get another job, go do something else, because it's not fair to you, and it's definitely not fair to your employer or whoever you're doing it for, that you're not giving it everything you got, that you don't have the enthusiasm. So number 2 is enthusiasm. Okay, number 3, get them to know you, like you, and trust you. So I've always said this in most of my trainings: people do business with people, period. People do business with people. So you understand that you're not doing it with a machine, you're not working with programs, you are working and selling to people. Yes, we have to go through all the metrics of all that, but people do business with people they know, they like, and they trust. Now that process can happen very fast, but a lot of times nowadays, because of the new sales process, as we talked about, it's a lot longer process. So your job is to get more people to know you, and the more people to know you has the possibility of getting them to like you. And the more people that like you, the more people that can trust you if you do the right things. And if you have a lot more people know, like, and trust you, you will sell more. I guarantee it, and so does God. So know, like, and trust. That's the order. It has to happen. So as I mentioned, you can skip that process. I mean, you can go through that process very fast, but you cannot skip any one of those. They have to know you first. Once they know you, they need to like you. And then if they like you and they trust you, then they're going to buy. So a lot of times we'll talk about you need to do everything you can to build that like and trust, because eventually they'll buy from you if they know, like, and trust. So the next one is give, and it shall be given unto you. This is Luke, what is it? Luke 6:38. I'm sorry, I didn't have it memorized. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, and shaken together, and running over, shall men give into your bosom. For with the same measure that ye meet withal, it shall be measured to you again. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Now here's the key. We, as Christian salespeople, need to give. And I'm going to give you lots of examples of what you can give. You can give time. You can give free advice. Uh-oh, he's coming back in again.
Still on enthusiasm's page.
It's just really delayed.
Yeah, I guess because it's still on the enthusiasm page.
All right, let's do this. Maybe I have to do each one, and then. I don't know.
Well, front card slide. Now ask them to see.
Okay.
Ask them if that changes anything.
I may have to come out of each one and go back into it. Okay, give and give it unto you. So I didn't lose my chain of thought. Actually, the key here, believe it or not, usually I would, is to give with no strings attached. That's the godly way to give. So what that means, if you take somebody out to lunch and say, hey, next time you get it, I'll get it this time, that's not giving. That's not the godly giving, because it's one for one. You're actually even, right? So if you're going to do something for somebody, no strings attached. I can't say that enough, because when I see that, so if somebody buys me, oh, let me buy you a cup of coffee, or let me, okay, but they don't really mean that. They want me to pay them back someday, right? So we don't want to be that way. Now, if you don't want to give or buy somebody lunch, a cup of coffee, or anything, then don't do that. But what I'm saying is, don't do it based off that they should give back to you. Now that I've said that, I'm going to go into this next slide here. Is when you do give. As a genuine giver, no strings attached, there's a thing called the law of reciprocity. And the law of reciprocity will happen automatically. Now, you can't bank on it, but the law of reciprocity doesn't necessarily come back from the person you gave to. This is where God comes in. So if you give, it shall be given unto you, but not necessarily from the same person. You give to this person or this company this way, and you may get from somewhere else. That's how the law works. No strings attached, so you understand that you're giving, and someday you will get, because you're planting seeds and watering those seeds, and someday you'll get the fruit of them. So let them see the genuine you. People do business with people, as I said. Show them that you are human, and they begin to know, like, and trust you. This is another way to get them to like you, is to give. And I'm talking about the emotional bank account here. So let me go back into this and start it up. See if you guys can see this screen here. The emotional bank account, you need to put deposits in with no strings attached. So every person of your circle of influence, start with your immediate family and your immediate friends and relatives, and check your emotional bank account. Literally do this, what's on the screen. Dad, mom, Susan, list your kids, list your friends, list your coworkers, and see where you're at in the emotional bank account. If you're up or down, or you can even be more, you can do on a scale of 1 to 10. I don't care how you do it, but do a check to see where you're at with your circle of influence. Because then you need to make deposits. And you want to be in the black, obviously. And some of them you may be overdrawn. You may be in the red. Maybe you keep taking, and you never give. So if you understand that the world revolves around this emotional bank account, I know that sounds childish almost, but that's exactly what's going on in all of our relationships, whether it's our wives or husband, our boss, or other coworkers. We have this emotional bank account, and people are keeping track. Subconsciously or consciously, people are keeping track. So it's our jobs as Christian salespeople to give and keep giving and giving with no strings attached as much as we possibly can with our time allotted, and then someday we'll get back. Not necessarily from the same person, like I said, but that's what the emotional bank account is about. So we want to give, and since we want to give, we want to understand that it's for their ROI. So it's about their business. It's not about you. And the world is like full of self-conscious, I-centered people that is all about me, 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 right? What's in it for me? WIIFM is the greatest radio station on earth. Most people all they care about is myself. So if you're going to have to sell somebody, that's exactly how it is. When you're walking in their door, the only reason why they want to meet with you or talk with you longer than 1 minute is they think that you have something that can help them out. I hate to say that, that's the way it is. If you're a salesperson, that's exactly what's going on. So you might as well lead with that. Here's how I can help you in your business. Or here's how I can help you personally, whatever it may be. So when I was selling radio, I would walk in and I was all about me, right? My radio station has the number one 2554 adult listeners. We have 150,000 listeners, and the station's 100,000 watts. You think they cared one iota what that meant? No, they did not. So the day I turned it and realized what that meant, and I turned it to what valuable to them, to the customer or prospect, I explained to them, hey, we do have 150,000 listeners. So that means when your ad runs, it's like a football stadium times 2, like the Alabama football stadium times 2, all that thing being full, and your ad is playing in that stadium to 150,000 people. Do you think you can say something that would intrigue them or want to call you, contact you, or come by your place? Yes or no? Because if we can't, then radio's not going to work for you. Now, I got them to think about what the power of what it is and their ROI and what I could do for them in radio. Now, you could do the same thing in your business. If you're selling insurance, you're not selling, ratings, you're not selling, how much you get for how much money. You are selling security about your family, right? In theory, and I know I got a couple insurance salespeople on the thing, so I'm going to say this slightly. In theory, sales, I mean, actually, insurance is a dumb proposition to me, because I'm betting I'm going to die, and the insurance company's betting I'm going to live, right? They have statistics on it. They know that I'm probably going to live, which is fine, right? Because if I happen to, statistically, that's why they come out ahead and they actually make money. Statistically, I'm probably going to live. But it's a peace of mind knowing that if I do die, my family's going to get taken care of. So that's what you sell. Your family's going to be taken care of if you die. That's the ROI. That's my comfort. That's the peace of mind that you want to sell on there. So you can do the same thing. Let's talk about if you're selling cars, right? So you want to get their return on investment. Obviously, for this amount of money, you're getting a good deal. And this is the car, it's safe, and all those kind of things. But you want to make sure it's about them. It's about them. It's about them. Not about me. Not about you. It's about them. Focus on the ROI. Okay, so work heartily as unto the Lord is the next one. And whatsoever you do, do it heartily as unto the Lord, not unto men. That's Colossians 3:23. Now, Colossians 3:23 is one scripture that talks about working hard. There's tons of them. I'm going to throw out a few of them here, half a dozen of them to you. But another key to success in sales is we can't just sit there and hope and pray. We have to actually take action. And God wants you to take action. Since the Garden of Eden, God is telling man to work, and He's telling him to work heartily. Okay? Now, here's the key to this verse. Work heartily as unto who? The Lord. That's right. Not to our boss, to the machine, not to, I think I wrote it down here, not to do it heartily as unto the Lord, not unto the men. We're not selling to anybody else. We're working as if we were working for Christ Himself. So not some secular occupation, and it doesn't make you a little bit more motivated to work hard if we know that we're working for Jesus Christ. My boss is Jesus Christ. That's why I show up. That's why I show up on time and I'm not late. That's why I work when I'm supposed to be working. That's why I give $1 worth of work for $1 wage minimum. Should be $1.05, maybe more, for $1 wage. And that's why I want to be that way, and especially as a Christian salesperson. Now, I need to tell you this. I totally understand. I was on a straight commission sales person for a long time, and I get it that if you're supposed to work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, that you have, you're spending time out there talking and bonding with prospects. But there is a fine line on what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing during the work week. You should not be shopping, right? Because that's not working heartily as unto the Lord. You should not be out there playing golf. Maybe if you're playing with a customer or a prospect, maybe. But my point is, and God knows if you're working heartily as unto the Lord. But I also know that you work Saturday nights and weekends when you're at the grocery store, you're out there selling and do your thing. So that's fine, and I get that, so it's kind of a give and take. However, on the other side of that, if you are hourly, or if you have a salary to do a job, you need to do it as prescribed. That's your contract between you and your employer, and God will honor that if you honor the contract. And He will help you sell more because you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're working heartily as unto the Lord. Now, your boss, you may have problems with your boss or even the company you work for, but you're not working for them. You're working heartily as unto the Lord. And that will help you motivate you to do the right thing and stay on task and, of course, do what you're supposed to be doing. And of course, it will also help you sell more. I'm going to get back into this here. Procrastination is a huge problem. Laziness and procrastination in society today, and especially in America. And I see this in a younger generation, but I also see this in an older generation. So I don't want to exclude anybody. Procrastination and laziness is a problem. So here's what God says. He becometh poor that dealeth with his slack hand, lazy. But the hand of the diligent shall maketh rich. He that gathereth in the summer is a wise son. But he that sleepeth in harvest is a son that causeth shame. Proverbs 10:4 and 5. Here's another one. The hand of the diligent shall bear rule, but the slothful shall be under tribute. God is telling us specifically, if we are diligent, if we work hardly, is what that's saying, you shall bear rule. That's the word shall is an absolute. It's a guarantee. God guarantees us in Proverbs 12:24 that we shall bear rule, which means we shall become a manager. It means we should be promoted up into a management position. I know this as a fact, and every time I explain this to somebody, this happens. They're like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. God is guarantee you, shall, it's an absolute, if you are diligent, working hardly as unto the Lord, you shall bear rule someday. Now, how quick is not said. We don't know. It may take years, it may take months, who knows. But if you are diligent and you work hardly as unto the Lord, you shall bear rule. Guess what happens if you bear rule? Or if you're a manager? Usually I say, you get more responsibility. With more responsibility, you get more pay. And in the end, we're trying to make more money, right? More prosperity, and that's part of this. So God is guaranteeing us that we can bear rule. We shall bear rule if we're diligent. Here's a couple more. Move to the next screen here. All right. So hard work means prosperity. Only fools idle their time away. Proverbs 12:11. That's the New International Version. What else does God say how we should work? Not slothful in business, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord. Not slothful in business. Again, work heartily as unto the Lord. We're not to be lazy or slothful. Romans 12:11 is that. 2 Thessalonians 3:11 says this, indeed, we hear that some among you are disorderly, that they are passing their lives in idleness, neglectful of duty, they're not doing their job, they're being busy with other people's affairs instead of their own doing no work. Instead of their own and doing no work. Wow, do we know people like that? Being busy with other people's affairs and not doing their own work? I don't want to get in a name situation, but this is happening out there. If this is you, knock it off! We work heartily as unto the Lord. And God can honor that. And He can get you more sales. So I'm sorry I'm reproving you if that's you. But if it's not, then great. Move on. Keep doing what you're doing. If you know people like this, just stay out of the way. Mark and avoid and stay away and move on to the next thing. But you need to understand that God blesses people who work hardly as unto the Lord. Okay, the Christian salespeople, and remember we said this in Colossians 3:23, and whatsoever you do, do it heartily as unto the Lord, not unto the men. 2 Chronicles 31:21, he did it with all his heart, and what? He prospered. He did it with all his heart and prospered. See, God is telling us to do it heartily with our heart. Now, I need to explain that. Heart is your innermost part of your being. It isn't just an organ in there. It's your innermost part of your being. It's really who you are in genuine. So when you over time you let settle things into your heart, it's not something that can waver, something that just comes and goes. Your heart is your innermost part of who you are, and that's how He wants us to work, and that's how He wants us to work under the Lord, right? Do it heartily with all of our heart, and He will prosper us. Okay, Psalm 90:17. And let the favor of the Lord our God be upon us, and establish thou work upon thy hands, or work of our hands upon us. Yea, the work of our hands establish thou it. So that's King James' way of saying, hey, God, please bless us what we're doing, our work. Please bless our work. And God says, yes, I will absolutely bless the work with your hands if you work heartily. Ecclesiastes 2:24, a man could do nothing better than to eat and drink and find satisfaction in his work. This too I see is from the hand of God. So if you're going to work and you don't have satisfaction in your work, move. Change jobs. Quit. You need to move on fast. Well, before you move on, find another job. But my point is, if you're miserable, and you shouldn't be that way. God doesn't want you to be that way. You don't want to be that way. Your employer doesn't want you there if you're miserable, right? It's a lose-lose-lose situation for everybody. So you need to look for something that you are better off served. And it could be anything. Sometimes it's less pay at first, but if you find what you love and do it wholeheartedly, and you're diligent, you shall bear rule eventually, the money will come. I promise you that. The prosperity will come. So find satisfaction in your work. Okay, the next thing is execute with consistency. Now, this is huge. A lot of people are winging it, and I used to wing this all the time. And to be honest, to this day, I still wing it sometimes. You want to have a plan of action. When you get up, you should have a list of what you're going to do for the day, or at least a list for what you're going to do for the week. And you need to execute with consistency, because the best salespeople in the world will have a consistent pattern that they do day in and day out, or week in and week out. That's how you grow your business. What happens is if you start getting a lot of sales, you stop prospecting. And you stop prospecting, eventually your funnel dries up, and then all of a sudden you're sitting there with your thumbs going, "What am I doing?" And there's no more prospects or clients. Then you got to go hit the ground running hard again. That's not the way to grow your business. The way to grow your business is with consistency, and that's how you do it, one after another. And even God says this. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also that is much. And he that is unjust in the least is also unjust also in much. 16:10 of Luke. And he's basically saying that the small things matter. So get your day in order with the small things, and then you'll be able to grow to bigger things and to bigger things. So if you can handle 4 or 5 clients now, and you've got them in order, then eventually you can handle 5, 6, 10 clients, and then you can grow with it. That's the only way to grow your book of business. The last thing I have on here is under promise and over deliver. Under promise and over deliver is actually, I don't know how long that goes back, a long ways. But sometimes we say those words, but are we really doing that? In the South here, we have a thing called lagniappe, and I think it comes from the French, but or whatever over in New Orleans. But lagniappe means this. Literally, it means this. It means a little something extra. But here's the key: little something extra that was not expected. Not expected. So how do you over deliver? How do you give lagniappe? So you give this incredible service. You deliver a product or a service, and then you need to give them some lagniappe, a little something extra they weren't expecting, because that's the knot that ties the know, like, and trust together. Because at that point, you've over delivered, and they just went, "Wow, these guys are fantastic." And guess what happens when you're fantastic? Not just average, not just delivering what you want, but when you over deliver, they start telling their friends and family. They start telling other people about you, and that's where you get referrals, and that's how you grow your book of business, right? So again, faithful in least, faithful in much. Doubt, worry, and fear. I need to address this. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, which is Philippians 4:6. You need to have that verse in your back pocket. Don't be anxious about anything. When we're out there selling, I understand there could be a point of fear or doubt or worry, but we need to understand who we are in Christ. Not that we've earned it. This is by grace, as we know, as prosperous Christians, but we should not be anxious about anything. We're doing business with people. We're trying to do business with people. They're just people, and more than likely, they're good people. And I don't remember who said it, but said that, oh yeah, actually I do remember, but let me think about it. Anyway, the quote was this: 90% of the things I feared in my life never came upon me. And that's Winston Churchill said that, especially if you think about what he went through. But anyway, if you think about that quote, that's kind of true. We fear a lot of things that really doesn't really bad. So I'm afraid to call this prospect, right? And I call it eating my frog. Well, I got to eat my frog. I'm going to call this prospect. And then you call them. It was no big deal. They were very cool, or they're not mean. At least they didn't, yell at you and call your baby ugly or anything like that. They're actually pretty nice. So your fear was for nothing. So there's no reason to get all this fear built up in you, especially when you read these scriptures. God has not given us the spirit of fear. And it says, be not anxious for anything, but in every situation by prayer. So if you got an uneasy heart, or you got some fear going on, or doubt or worry, what does God say to do? Pray. Probably a good idea before any sales call. I know with my salesperson, we pray before each of our sales call, and it really blesses me immensely. And hopefully, it blesses him. And of course, God's always around. He hears our prayer with thanksgiving, and I presented my request to him, and we're good to move on. And it's just what happens. We sell a lot, probably because of that, and we do all these other things that I'm telling you about. All right, this is one of my favorite slides. This is a writer downer, so let me make sure you get this one here. Retention is the new acquisition. Let me say it again. Retention is the new acquisition. The world has changed. We cannot burn and churn numbers. I remember when I was first getting to sell. Just burn and churn, man. Pick up the dial them for numbers. And if they don't want it, you just let them go. Well, it doesn't work that way anymore. We need to keep our customers we currently have, because every business has a form of attrition, right? So attrition is where people leave us. And most of businesses are somewhere between 25 and 35% attrition per year, which is a ton. 1/3 of our customers will go away by this time next year. Now, it depends on what business you're in, but that's a lot. So there was a study at Harvard University by researchers Frederick F. Reichhold and Earl Sasser, and they calculated that a mere 5% reduction in customer defections increased company profits by 25 to 85%, depending on how much it costs to acquire a new customer. Wow, if that is not an eye-opener, I don't know what is. So this is a true rider-downer for the new salesperson of, Christian salesperson of today. Retention is a new acquisition. Here's why we lose customers. One reason, they die. Can we do anything about that? No, nothing. I mean, even if you're insurance, they die, they cash out, you don't get, getting a new sell on that. So we can't do anything about that. 3% move away. Now, some of us can do business worldwide, but a lot of us can't, so they move away. We have we lose them. We lost them. 3% of our business, moves away. 5% get referred somewhere else by a friend or a relative. We cannot compete with a friend or relative. So if in my awards business, if somebody says, hey, my cousin owns an award shop over here, you should buy from them, I can't compete with that. Even if they love us and we do great customer service and all these things, they're going to leave because they have a relative that now sells whatever. We're going to lose those. That's 5%. We're going to lose some of that, but that's how, that's how the dice rolls. 9% switch because of a better price or product. Now, I'm going to tell you, you don't want these 9%. You don't want to get these 9% because the only way to get them is by price, right? But if you get them by price, they're going to leave you by, I think I heard everybody say price. Good job. Yes. So, yes, we have to be price conscientious, but we don't have to be the price leader. And we really want them to come to us because of something other than price, because that way they won't leave us because of something other than price. 14% switch. We lose our customers, 14% of them, because of a better product or because of product or service dissatisfaction. It means we mess something up, or we just don't have good service, we just don't have a good product or whatever. And we lose 14%. That's a problem, and we need to fix that. There's no doubt that is a problem. 14% of and that would change our attrition rate if we could fix that 14%, obviously, right? We don't want to lose those people, but sometimes or another we mess up. We're human beings, and that's right. We're earthen vessels. God knows this, and other people know this as well. So we are going to lose some of those. Hopefully we can minimize that, make that 5% instead of 14%, but we are going to lose some of our customers because of that. But here's the one I want you to focus on, this last one. This is an eye-opener. This is a writer-downer. Get your pens out. 68% leave because they felt unappreciated, unimportant, or taken for granted. It just makes me want to cry. 68% of that 25 to 35% attrition rate, 68% of them leave us because they felt unappreciated, unimportant, or felt taken for granted. We didn't tell them we loved them. We didn't tell them that we appreciate them. We didn't do the emotional bank account and make deposits. We didn't over-deliver with Yanyap, that unexpected over-delivery, did we? That's why they're leaving us. That is a sad statistic. It's a huge statistic. But we can do something about that, right? That's the good news. It's easy to pick up the phone and call the customer and say, hey, I just want to say I appreciate you. I love sending out Thanksgiving cards, not Christmas cards. Thanksgiving cards is a time to give thanks, right? So you send out a Thanksgiving card around Thanksgiving time and say, I appreciate you as a customer. You should at least do your top 100 customers or whatever it is. Make a list, send out a Thanksgiving card, tell them thank you for being a customer. I truly appreciate you. Also, I love to give gifts unannounced. Send out a care package saying thank you for what you do for us. If you have a high-ticket item, and some of you guys do, where these prospects spend thousands of dollars a month with you, what's a $10 item you ship in the mail, or what's a $15 item? Send them something cool. I like to send them CPS, cheap plastic stuff, or something with their logo on it and saying thank you, like a candy jar or something, and say thank you very much. Okay, this is according to the book Lessons from the Field by Howard Furtag and John Hogan. It's not the big things that make them leave. It's the little things that count. Loyalty is very hard to establish nowadays. Remember, know, like, and trust. If they come to you because they know, like, and trust you, that trust and that like can go away if you're not taking care of them. I got to move on. Why would a prospect do business with you, considering all other options, including the option of doing nothing at all, which people do all the time? They just end up, they're too confused. They just don't see, something they have to have. They end up doing nothing. So you give them a proposal, and you're sitting there. Why haven't they closed? And the option of doing nothing at all is a very true option nowadays. Now, I'm going to give you the hint down here. Your answer cannot be customer service. Not be customer service. Unless you consistently over-deliver like these examples, like Zappos.com, which, Zappos will give you. Here, I got to read it. Where did I write that? So Zappos, I think I took it out. Yeah, Zappos will give you exactly a year to send back your shoes for free, and they'll pay shipping both ways to you, and they'll pay shipping back if you don't like the shoes, unless it's on a leap year. If it's on a leap year, if it's on, February 29th on a leap year, you got 4 years to return those shoes with no questions asked and free shipping back to Zappos. Now, if you're like that, then you can say, yeah, we got great customer service. I doubt you are. More than likely, you're not in the ballpark of that. But every time I ask a business, what stands you out? What's your unique selling proposition? How you differentiate yourself from all your competitors? Every time, like 92% of the time, we have great customer service. Blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry, and I mean that in the nicest possible way. Every prospect just rolls their eyes when they hear that. Because really, do you have customer service like Zappos, like Estonia, or some of these other ones that we can discuss? But your answer should be something a little bit different, right? It should be something that distinguishes you from somebody else. And I can give you lots of examples, but we don't have time. But you need to come up with that, and we can brainstorm together. But you need to come up with a reason why a prospect should do business with you over all the other options, including doing nothing at all. Customer service. So what is true customer service? So we are no longer competing with mom and pops down the street. So we are being judged by the standards set by, Zappos, Amazon.com, Starbucks, Southwest Airlines, Publix, even things like Mr. Rooter. If we're a local, plumbing company, Mr. Rooter has set such a high standard that's what we're competing against. Even if we are mom and pop, we need to understand that we need to compete on a national level with these other national franchise. So we need to raise the bar, right, for customer service. We can no longer sell by accidents. We need to have planning. We need to have policies and procedures and scripts. When we answer the phone, we should have a very specific script of what we say so we don't mess it up. We also need to teach our employees to have scripts, how to answer the phone with customer service. Of course, I teach my employees to answer these phones a very specific way, to ask certain questions. That's what we want. Ask a question and be very specific. And then what are you doing special for new customers? And this is a key, too. This is a little hint. Remember customer retention, we want to go above and beyond, but part of that lanyap is to do something special for that new customer. So that's extra beyond. So for instance, Bed Bath & Beyond and Chick-fil-A, have you ever used a coupon there? It's incredible. They actually train their employees to take that coupon and say, thank you for using this coupon. Now, that coupon could be 3 years outdated at Bed Bath & Beyond or even Chick-fil-A. They will never question it. They'll say, oh, this is great. Thanks for bringing in this coupon. Go ahead and use it. Now, you think they were schooled on that? Now, have you ever been in any other place and you use a coupon and they're like, well, we're not taking these anymore, and they're rude about it? You spent hard-earned money to get a customer into your place with a coupon, and now you're going to treat them like that? Doesn't make any sense, does it? That's why I have a huge problem with coupons. Most of my friends know this. But if you're going to do it, you need to do it like Bed Bath & Beyond or Chick-fil-A. You need to take it and go above and beyond and say thank you, because you did that coupon to acquire a new customer. Now once you got them, give them that 5-star treatment that they deserve. Give them that above and beyond, that lanyard. How do you gain trust? Well, listen, then listen some more, and then listen some more. Remember, it's not about you, so you need to ask some questions. And the questions need to be loaded on return on investment. How is this going to return on investment for them? How are they going to make more money or have a better life or have a big piece of heart, comfort their heart by buying your product or service? That's the conversation that you need to have. Not about you, not about your company. That'll come up. They can read the brochure on that. But when you have the conversation, you need to ask questions about what they're doing to grow their business and how you can fit in that scenario. Of course, to gain trust, you need to do what you say you're going to do. I have a huge problem with being late. Now, I'm first to admit I'm late sometimes, but I always try to call ahead of time. If I'm 1 minute late, I'm late, right? If you're supposed to be there at noon and you're at 11:59, comes up, you're on time. At 12:01, you're late. So do what you say you're going to do. Help them look awesome. Help your customer or prospect look awesome, especially because a lot of these people are in bigger companies, right? And they have to report to somebody. All of us have to report to somebody, whether it's God or on down. We want them to look awesome. So if we help them look awesome, that's a win-win-win situation because their company wins, they win by looking awesome, and you win by getting a new customer or prospect, right? Do your research. You'd be amazed at how many salespeople look like idiots when they come sit in front of me and they're like, well, do you guys sell trophies in here? And I mean, how hard is it to do a 5 minutes, 10 minutes worth of research to see what these people actually do and how they do it? Maybe a little bit of history on their company too. And then, one, you look educated. Two, you don't say something stupid, and because once you say something dumb, it's really hard to gain trust after that. And trust me, I've said a lot of dumb things in my life. But it helps when you come prepared to a meeting, and you owe it to the prospect or customer to come prepared to the meeting. And part of that is doing your research. When values are clear, decisions are easy. Write that down. When values are clear, decisions are easy. When values are not clear, that's when they make no decision at all, right? They're just like, I don't know if this is worth my time or energy, or it's not worth my money. But if it's real clear and you know the value is truly clear, the decision's easy. I got to do this. This is too good of a deal to pass up. And we've all been there. So something we bought or something we've done, this is such a good deal. I got to take advantage of this. And you make sure that value is clear. So it's your job to explain the value. It's your job to explain the ROI. It's your job to explain how it's going to benefit them, their life, their business, right? And we need to lead with that value. That's when we're talking to a prospect after we ask all these questions, we need to lead with the value that we bring. A confused mind never buys. Never, ever, ever buys. Let's see if we're still here. Okay. How to gain more trust. You tell the truth even if it doesn't benefit you. Actually, nowadays, we actually expect something to be a little off, right? If you're expensive, just bring that up in the beginning. Hey, we're great, but we're expensive. We're definitely a lot more than our competitors. But here's why. And here's the value. ROI, ROI, ROI. We're going to spend a little bit more up front, but in the end, you're going to have so much more benefit, right? What they care about, not about you, remember? You want to give away valuable free stuff. I really, really, really believe in this. Remember, give and it shall be given unto you. Now, don't go really far every way. If you're giving something, I have to be careful when I say this because people give away the farm and then they never charge for anything. What I'm trying to say is give away something to get their taste of what you can do. Then they know, like, and trust you. Then they'll buy something more. But don't give away your main product for free. But give away something like in Prosperous Christian, I give away a free ebook. It's a 47-page ebook. I think it has a lot of value, and I spent I don't know 8 months writing the darn thing, and it's very powerful. And if they use it, I'm positive their life will be tremendously improved. But we give that away for free, so I'm just being brutally honest with you. It's kind of a leader to get in and say, hey, this is good content. You want more content? Then join the membership, because that's just the tip of the iceberg. We got tons of great videos, tons of this great training that you're getting now, and we got a full-blown book that's supposed to be released here in the next month or so. But they'll get more and more value. So you want to give them some value in advance to show that wow, this guy is great, or this company is wonderful, and then they begin to know you, like you, and trust you. So give away valuable free stuff. Sometimes it's free advice. Sometimes it's a free report, which we do with my other company. We give them a $197 free reputation report, and it's and it has a lot of value to it. So when we're doing that, we gain trust because we're actually working in advance, hoping that, or I don't like to use the word hoping, believing that someday they will know, like, and trust us, and when they need our services, they will look to us first. Make it easy to do business with you. You'd be amazed how many people it's hard to do business with them. They make it hard. We're only open, Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. or 4 p.m. Stop making it hard to do business with you. Make it as easy as possible from their point of view. Remember, it's not about you. And I had this one catering business I was consulting, and she's like, well, I really don't want to work nights and weekends, and I just want to work, when my kids are at school, which is like 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And I'm thinking to myself, are you kidding me? That's convenient for you. I understand that, but she couldn't figure out why her business wasn't growing. Well, when do you cater things? Usually nights and weekends, right? So I know it's not convenient for you. So maybe you're in the wrong business. And she's like, oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But she was doing her business what's convenient for herself. She didn't think about her prospect or her customer, what's convenient for them. We need to do the opposite. As salespeople, we need to make it easy to do business with them. Just make it real easy to do business with us. So come into under budget and over value. That's what we want to do. Over promise and under deliver. Remember, we already talked about that. How do you lose trust? I'm going to wrap this up here, and then we'll have some time for questions. Fail to do what you say you're going to do. Remember, you say you're going to be at noon, you show up late, you're going to start losing trust. Don't do that. It's not that hard to leave 10 minutes early. It's not that hard to get up 5 minutes earlier. Don't ever call their baby ugly. What I mean by that is, if they had purchased something like your competitors, this is biblical anyway, I didn't have time to look up the scripture, but just Google it. Don't rip on who they purchased before, right? Who cares? They bought it for a reason because they liked them, they knew them, they trusted them. They originally purchased them for a reason. Now, they may know why they're willing to change and go with you. There's probably all kinds of reasons. Maybe they lost the trust, maybe they don't like him anymore, all those kind of things, but it's not your job to call their baby ugly. That's a weird way of saying they purchased this thing. It's their baby, so you stay away from that as far as you can. Just tell them how you can benefit them more with a higher ROI. So stay away from that. Yeah, same thing. Don't bash your competitor. Just stay far away from that. I'll find the scripture on that. Don't lie. Don't stretch the truth. Don't withhold key information. Remember, lay everything on sleeve. Lay it out in the open. I do that all the time with all my businesses. And sometimes we're not the best. And so don't lie. Hey, you know what? You're better off going with somebody else. Which, man, that respect will go through the roof if you actually say that. Or you can say, we fit very well here, but we're not very good in this situation. I do that all the time with my other companies. We're kind of weak in one area, so I say, hey, you probably want to go. We're not very good at building websites. We're okay. We build good brochure websites, but if you get it more advanced than that, that's not us. So I'm happy to tell them, hey, you need to move on. I have a couple suggestions, and I'll send it on to them. But don't lie. Don't stretch the truth. Don't even tell them that you can do something when you can't. Don't go there. Sleight of hand, bait and switch, trickery, all that's biblical. You know that. With the, talking with your eyes, that whole scripture, you want to stay away from that. Don't add to the cost after the deal is made or reduce the value, which happens all the time. I purchase things, and all of a sudden it's plus, plus, plus. After we sign on it, which is when I sold cars, that's exactly what happened. Oh, yeah, you got it. Here you go. Press real hard. Third copy's yours. And then I sign it, and then, oh, by the way, do you want the the flux capacitor warranty? Do you want the undercarriage? Do you want the etching on the windows or whatever it is? I'm like, what the heck? And all of a sudden, plus, 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 plus. And then you would add in a tax bump, and don't be that way. And I know I have Prosperous Christians used car salespeople on this call, so I'm talking directly to you. I know you don't do that, so just accept my apologies that some of your competitors do that. Stay away from that. Under promise and over deliver. All right, quickly going into the farmer and hunter thing. We know that the hunter is someone who focuses on a single sale for potential customers, which some sales is that way. But a hunter tends to take the path of least resistance. He takes shortcuts, right? He puts out feeders, right? A hunter will put out corn feed or whatever, or salt licks, and hunters will sit up in a deer stand, which is a shortcut. A hunter hides his true self. He hides himself behind camo or a blind. And a hunter shoots and misses almost always. The animal runs off because they have been exposed. That should tell you something. If this is you in your sales process, if you have made a pitch and the prospect runs off and never to talk to you again, it means you're a hunter, and you don't want to be this way. You want to be a farmer. So let me say, so once the kill is made or the sale is made, they move on to the next target, which is a hunter. Now, I know there can be arguments made about why you should be a hunter, but I believe that the biblical sales process is to be a farmer. Now, a farmer is someone who plants and waters. They give first. Before they see any fruit at all, they give, right? give and it shall be given unto you. You have to plant and water first. God gives the increase. So I have planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the increase. So then neither is he that planteth anything, neither he that watereth, but God that giveth the increase. Now he that planteth and he that watereth are one, and every man shall receive his own reward according to his own labor. 1 Corinthians 3, 6 through 8. Our jobs as biblical Christian salespeople is to plant and water. Allow God to give the increase. So we go out there and we prospect. We call on them. We do what we're supposed to be doing. We work heartily. We do all those 7 steps, right? We work heartily as unto the Lord. We put God first, and we plant and water, and God will give us the sales. He'll give us the increase. Now, this is specifically talking about going out witnessing and winning people to the Word, but this also applies to sales, obviously. Now, a farmer isn't looking for a crop instantly. They're patient to cultivate. They get rid of the weeds, they water, and they plant, and they understand that doesn't happen overnight. Who would ever think that a farm or a garden could happen overnight? I mean, it would be ludicrous. You plant in September and you expect to get a harvest in early October. It doesn't happen. People would just laugh at you. Farmers would think you're crazy. But we don't. We roll it till the ground. We cultivate. We put down some fertilizer. We plant seeds. Then we weed the garden. We water it. Weed the garden some more. I know this because I got a garden, by the way. And this is one of my first gardens I've ever grown. I'm super excited. I'm getting fruit off it. It's so amazing. Even after 2 flash floods in my area. But anyway, so we weed, we water, and then eventually we get this crop. We get the fruit. But it doesn't happen overnight. We don't expect that. But my job is just to plant and water. And then we know God will give the increase. The fruit comes from God, just like in a real garden, right? A farmer nurtures the crop before it gives food. A farmer grows trusted relationships over time. That's our job. Get people to know, like, and trust us. Don't sit there and pitch all the time. Don't have an ulterior motive. When we give, there's no strings attached. We get them to know, like, and trust us. We build relationships, because with relationships, eventually, if they have a need for what we sell, they will buy from us. They will pick us first out of everybody else. A farmer acquires a customer to gain clients. So a client gives a higher yield per acreage. So this is an interesting analogy. A customer is somebody who tries you out. So they know you, they like you, trust you. I'm going to try you. So they'll dabble. In other words, they'll give you a little bit of fruit, and you will take that and run with it. Some people fail right there. They take the fruit and they stop watering, they stop planting, and they surely don't over-deliver. And then that person either just stays at that level or they cancel, or they're like, I was actually disappointed with the outcome. But other people that are farmers, Christian farmers, they get that little sale in the beginning because they know I can trust you, so they're going to give you a little tidbit. They're going to give you a little piece of cheese. Then all of a sudden you over-deliver with that first sale, and you give them above and beyond customer service, and then they up themselves. They're calling you to buy more of what you sell. Wow. That's how you get more yield per acreage when you plant and water God's way, the Christian way, right? So you want to be a Christian farmer, a Christian salesperson as a farmer. Top 5 sales mistakes, and then we'll end this up here. Let's see here. Yep. Okay, I think you guys are still on with me here. So, number 1, not listening. I already brought this up. I don't have to dwell on this too much, but you need to listen. Look past what they're saying, but look for their needs. And of course, their need is going to be return on investment. How are they going to get a return on investment for this? Overselling. Stop pitching. Stop overselling. If you're thinking about what's best for the customer, you won't be selling at all. Your sales pitch will be just helping them come to the conclusion that what you have will benefit them in multiple ways. Underselling. This is a lot of problems too. Salespeople go out there, they prospect, they actually even propose, and then they never ask for the sale. And I believe that a Christian salesperson, if you've done all 7 steps that we talked about, plus you did all these other things that we're talking about too, you're a farmer, not a hunter, you have the right to ask for the business. You have the right. And God says you have the right, because you're delivering exactly what you're supposed to deliver and more, lagniappe, right? And you're going to give what's best for the customer. So you have the right to ask for the sale. You'd be amazed at how many salespeople never ask for the business. They say, hey, think it over, call me if you have any questions. That is not asking for the business. You need to say, this is right for you. You have any questions? No? Great. When should we start? Monday or Tuesday? I mean, or you could push real hard. Third copy's yours, whatever. Don't do something cheesy. But the point is, at that point, when it's good for the customer, good for you, the sale should be made, and that's how you make a sale. Don't undersell, and I see that as a problem. So that's one of the sales mistakes. Over-promising. I beat that dead horse a bunch, but do not disappoint your customer or prospect. Do not overpromise. And judging books by their cover. Salespeople do this all the time. This is sad routine, but they go in and they'll look at a store, they'll look at a prospect, and they really think, oh, this guy has no money, this person doesn't want to buy from me. You have no right to judge. Your job is to plant and water, right? You can't judge whether there's fruit there or not, right? That's not your duty. Your job is plant and water. So do not judge a book by its cover, and that's one of the big problems. Okay, Christian sales success. Build an immunity to failure. How do you do that? Here's the answer. Understand that your working hardly is unto the Lord, no one else. And that should motivate you, one, to be, to work hard. But two, you should understand who you are as a Christian. You are complete in Christ. And because of that, who cares? Right? You just plant and water and you move on. If somebody rejects you, so what? It doesn't take away your eternal rewards, does it? No. Know what you're worth. In God's eyes, you're worth a lot. And this is one of the teachings I have. It's a free teaching on ProsperousChristian.com. It's called The Value of a Christian. And I highly recommend you watch the video. It's like 20, 30 minutes long. But you need to understand what you are worth. And God thinks you're worth a lot. Know who you are. God says who you are. Nothing more, nothing less. You are what God says you are. Remember I told you earlier, you need to build consistency, discipline action to plant and water. Consistency means you have a plan of action every morning when you sit down at your desk and you go to work. What is your plan of action? Measure your results and how much planting and water you've done, because you can adjust accordingly. You may need to plant more. If you're not making the sales you need to make, you need to plant more, water a little bit more, right? The only failure is to fail to fail. The only failure is to fail to fail. Otherwise, you're not doing anything. So if you're planting and watering, you're going to have some failure. You're going to have some crop that will wash away. When we had this big floods, I lost about 20% of my crop. I had to replant. No big deal. I got plenty more seeds. God gives us plenty of seeds. There's plenty of seeds out there. I don't want to lose crop, but you're gonna lose crop. So I failed in 20% of my crop, but I planted again. Now I got some more. The secrets to success. This is another writer downer because this is hard for me because I am an innovator. But the secret to success is to imitate, not innovate. In other words, don't try to make it up as you go along. Don't try to reinvent the whole sales process. I just gave it to you. And in your business, I'm sure you have a sales process. You do this, you send this out, you call the customer, whatever it is. Don't innovate. Just do it over and over and over again multiple times because numbers do matter in sales. I hate people always tell me, oh, numbers. Well, no, sales is a numbers game. Like it or not, it is. I hate to say that. It is a numbers game. Just like crops. When you're planting seeds, it is a numbers game. Now, we want to have, of course, the quality of the seeds matter, but it is a numbers game. So don't innovate, imitate, and you'll be much more successful. Now, when you're successful and you have your own business and you want to take it to another new level, like Apple or whatever, you can innovate all you want, but I don't recommend you do it at first. Okay, so remember, here's the Christian sales process. One, we need to put God first, have enthusiasm. We need to get them to know, like, and trust us. We need to give, and it shall be given unto us. Work hardly as unto the Lord. We need to execute with consistency. And we need to underpromise and overdeliver. And that's the 7 ways to grow your sales business as a Christian salesperson. So this is my mantra. Everybody that knows me knows this. Some is always better than none. Always. So every single day, every single month, take ground. In the city of blind people, the one-eyed man is king. So we don't have to be perfect, but we just need to do some of this and implement and plant and water, and we move with it, and we will grow our business. So I'll wrap it up with this. If you want to be part of the Prosperous Christian, I know there's several people on here that are not members yet. Simply go to ProsperousChristian.com/silver, which is this silver membership. I'm not going to go over it. You get all this training. You get the meetings. You get the printed monthly newsletter sent to you in the mail. You get the recordings of all these past meetings, as well as all these other sales trainings and social media training, search engine training, some swag and all that good stuff. So it's only $37, but right now as a charter member for the internet, it's only $27 for the life of it. Or you can type in prosperouschristian.com gold, and it's $47 for charter members. You get all this, plus you get the premium directory listings on prosperouschristian.com, which you want, and you get the forum postings, which is like prayer requests and God stories. It's awesome. You need to be on that as well. So, and you get a couple other things. You get the private webinars for the gold members only, which is similar to this, but a higher level, and then like a mastermind group with that as well on there. So if you have questions, just go to prosperouschristian.com gold, or you can email me. All right, so real quick, I'm going to finish this up. Let me get out of this. I'll wave to everybody. So I'm going to take a couple questions. If you have some questions, put them in the chat box. Hope I overwhelmed you. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Thank you. Getting a lot of thank yous. Good job. Hopefully you can see it. Yes, there's going to be a replay, and it will automatically, I don't know when, but it should automatically email you the replay of this as soon as we're done, sometime today, I think. We'll see. Again, this is new software that I bought. Obviously, I'm not very good at running it yet, but thank you for being my guinea pigs, by the way. Yes. Okay. All right. Any questions on the training? Thank you, Cheryl and Mark. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you as well. Appreciate you guys. All right. I hope I overwhelmed you, but I'm going to let you go because I know I went over an hour. We're about 15 minutes past, but my little technical difficulties. But I'll be doing more of these. This is good for me, and once I get them down, I'll make sure I'll have it right, and then we'll make sure that we get more and more people on here. So this is great. A lot more turnout than I thought I would have. But please email me at eddie@prosperouschristian.com if you have questions. If you haven't downloaded the ebook, go to prosperouschristian.com and download the ebook. And of course, if we have more trainings, make sure you sign up for that. I think once you sign up for this, you'll be on my newsletter. And once you're on my newsletter, I'll send you out the other requests for the seminars and webinars that we're doing. So with that, I'll say goodbye. God bless you in the name of Jesus Christ, and go get them. Go plant and water. Thanks.